Hello everybody, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It's Sunday, August 22nd, and we're into the last week of August here, a trading week. And this is the weekend video where we take a look at the week that was just passed and trying to look ahead and see where we're going from here. Markets still look solidly in an uptrend for the most part. So let's get down to it and take a look at where we might be going next week. So let's start out by looking at what's coming up here the week of August 23rd. Events this week, we do have some earnings. The earnings season is winding down, but we still do have some interesting companies reporting, some retailers such as Best Buy. And you can see here on Tuesday, Nordstrom's on Tuesday. JD, one of the Chinese stocks, one of the many stocks have been absolutely creamed over the last month or so. We've got Palo Alto Networks after the market close on Monday, and Toll Brothers, a housing company, and Inuit. Of course, we've got Dick's on Wednesday and Snow after the market close, so some interesting stocks there on Wednesday as well. And as far as reports goes, we've got existing and new home sales. Those will be interesting because, of course, building prices have been going up significantly, so it'll be interesting to see where the new home sales are and the existing home sales, how that's been holding up. Durable goods on Wednesday as well as the Q2 GDP number. And August 27th, Friday, we've got the Jackson Hole meeting. It's gone virtual, so it'll be on Zoom. Everybody's going to be listening to see if there's some update on the timing of the tapering that might start happening. So that'll be watched on Friday. Of course, that's at the end of the week. And the 10-year yield, it's shown continued weakness throughout the week, but we'll be watching to see if that can hold where we are right now, which is around 1.25, 1.26. If we break down from there, it could be 1.2 and then even lower, or we may just find some support here. Dollar was strong for most of the week, had a bit of a pullback on Friday, so we'll be watching to see what the dollar does, because that's going to impact commodity prices, etc. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm still liking some option plays, writing calls and puts on stocks that are holding specific levels of either support or resistance, or writing calls against them. So we'll be watching for more opportunities for that this week. Okay, and so before we get looking at some charts, I always like to throw in a quick ad for my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, if you haven't checked it out. Beginner's Guide to Trading Tools, Money Management, Routines, Rules and Strategies of a Swing Trader. So there it is. So let's get down to looking at the market internals for starters here. This is obviously FinViz. Like to look at that just to see, just get a quick overview of where we are in the internals. And you can see here, despite the fact that we actually had a pretty good Friday, new lows outpaced new highs by 2 to 1, which is not something you usually see on a pretty strong day. A number of stocks that are trading below the 50 moving average, still 2 stocks down for every one that's above. And the 200-day moving average is split pretty close to the middle. It's biased a little bit to the positive side. But again, market internals not looking fantastic, but we seem to continue to push higher. Every little buy or sell off gets bought. And let's flip over to the charts here. The TLT, the 20-year Treasury bond, of course, went up this week because the yields dropped. And we can take a look at the 10-year yield here. See dropping off. We're right at this level of support here, this moving average, the 50 moving average. And again, we're going to be watching that one to see where we go from here. If there is a little bit of a bounce here, it looks like we maybe have put in a bit of a double bottom. But again, if we start to lose this 50 moving average, we could be getting down to, and we lose this 1.2 level. I mean, one could be in the next level of support here. RSI or stochastics do look like they're firming up a little bit here, so we'll keep an eye on that because that's going to impact how the financials trade, for one, and also the triple Qs. Transports, not a great week overall. We started we started lower and we just continued lower, and even Thursday, Friday, we just couldn't catch much of a bounce here. At an inside day on Friday, despite all the markets being up again. So I always like to watch the transports because they kind of an indicator of where the Dow could be going. You can see histograms, stochastics all heading lower, momentum looking like it's still to the downside here on the transports. The very least you could say is maybe we're stuck in a sort of a narrow trading range here. But again, transport's looking a little of the weak. Again, the Dow, we had a bit of a reversal day Thursday off this 50 moving average, came back up, touched the 20 moving average, and that's where we ended up on the week. Up on the Friday nicely, but down overall on the week by about 1% and a bit. Still holding on to this channel here, and volume was a little bit heavier than previous volume, but it looks like, again, we're going to keep an eye on this. The transports seem to indicate that the Dow might be heading lower. The Qs, Monday was not a bad day. Tuesday, Wednesday, big sell-off days, and then we had the bounce back Thursday, Friday. So kind of didn't make a lot of headway one way or another. We were up 1% on Friday. And on the week, we were just down a third of 1% or less. So again, we just seem to be putting in some topping action here. Volume was a little heavier than normal. RSI and stochastics still looking a little overbought. SPY, kind of the same comment here. We had some pretty heavy buying and selling during the week. And you can see here on the weekly, again, we were down about 0.5%, a little bit better. And we just seem to be stalling out here a little bit. IWM had a rough week, and you can see here just was Monday was a gap down and then headed further lower, big gap down Tuesday. Tried to rally back Thursday, gave up that effort, ended up lower. Thursday, gap down again, and then Friday, bit of a bounce back. But I'm almost thinking this was a bounce back from something that was where we got really oversold. Stochastics are kind of turning up here. So maybe we are going to get another bounce like we got here, where we'll get a couple days, another day, follow-through day here on Wednesday or Monday. We get a bit of a bounce up here, but again, we seem to be trading in a range. Seems to me we put in a double top. Here's a lower high. Here's a sort of a series of more lower highs. So it looks like the IWM to me is slowly rolling over here. We are holding this 210 level. I'd be watching that pretty closely. If we do lose that, we've got a moving average here, 50 moving average that we might bounce off of. And if we can't hold that, man, there's a lot of airspace below. And you can see here on the volume shelves, there's very little volume here once we lose this level to support this from coming all the way down. So IWM, definitely something to keep an eye on. If we do lose some of those key levels, it would be probably a good opportunity for a short. You could do that through just buying TZA, which is the levered ETF, which shorts the IWM. The dollar here, you can see here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, strong days Thursday, big gap up again, broke out of this prior level of resistance from here and here, and now we're doing a little bit of a pullback. I'd be watching this to pull back a little more. If it does pull back to 25, I'd be watching it to see if it holds there. Quite often when you get a breakout, you'll get a bit of a check back to where it broke out from, and then you get a continuation move higher. So I'd be watching to see if that plays out. Volatility spiked up Wednesday, pulled back Thursday, and then of course dropped Friday with a strong market. Buyers stepping back in on Friday. And Bitcoin looking really pretty solid here. I think Bitcoin's going to break out. It's certainly making a series of higher lows. This is a nice little ascending triangle here. You can just see it's just getting ready to bust a move. So I'd be watching for a breakthrough 50,000. and you can probably play stocks like Riot or Mara for that. Flipping back to FinViz, let's take a quick look at how the groups fared this week. Of course, the utilities are at the top of the list here. You can see even on a weekly performance, utilities, say one of the safety trades, right at the top of the list there. Healthcare actually did pretty well. And even on a monthly basis, you can see utilities, healthcare doing fairly well. So utilities trade is a solid one if you're just looking for a safe place to put some money. All right, let's wrap it up with a couple of bunch of stocks I'm kind of watching here. I'm looking at BABA. You can see here we've got this, you've got a level here, goes back, way back to 2019. We've already lost some pretty key levels here. 150, I wouldn't be playing this for a long period of time, but if we do hit this 150 level, I think it's a pretty significant area of support where BABA might just, you might get some pattern like this where you'll get a bit of a bounce. So it could be a very short-term trade. Overall, I'm still very negative on the Chinese stocks overall. I just think they're just waiting for another shoe to drop for another announcement out of the Communist Party. I still think, still liking India for earnings. This earnings fund, you've got a number of ways, number of ETFs to play India, and I think India is probably poised to do fairly well overall. The KWEB, again, sort of same theory as my comments about BABA here. There's an area here around 40 that probably will hold for a bit of a bounce. Again, you'd have to be nimble on that trade, set an alert for 40, get in, play a bouncer for a day or two, and then get out. Live Nation, I'm still watching this one. I think that, it's a reopening play. And it's, we've had some concerts starting up again. I think that, this could be a nice runner back up once we kind of get things sorted out with the COVID situation and things start to open up more. Moderna, I'm really liking this as an options trade. I've been trading this I've traded a couple times for options. It's really, by most people's view, it's overpriced. It's had a really nice run up here. Here's an area where I'm thinking 350 will probably hold. So, maybe shorting around 400 and we're looking for some support around 350. Microsoft is just something you just need to keep an eye on. There's just every time this thing sells off a little bit, you can see here Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit of a sell-off. Thursday, the buyers just came ripping back in here. So trend is your friend, and definitely the trend is up. So we just blew through 300 on Friday with Microsoft. It is probably going higher. Look at the volume on this too. Everybody loves Microsoft. Got to remember a couple of years ago, you couldn't convince anyone to buy Microsoft. Riot, I mentioned this one already. Play for Bitcoin to start to break out here. Again, Riot, Mara, CAN. Here's Snap. I like Snap. Snap's come back. It's filled the gap. You can see here, filled it here. And I think it looks like it's going to try to break out here. So volume's a little bit lackluster, but stochastics are turning back. Histogram's starting to turn up, and you can see here RSI has gotten above 50 again. So liking the look of Snap. UBOT, I think as long as it kind of holds 42 here, I think it's probably a decent trade. X really popped out, tried to break out here, and then did a bit of a false breakout. Really didn't follow through. Looking here at this 20 moving average, if it can hold this level, which is not far from where we are now, 2650. Again, infrastructure play could come back here. Financials, definitely keep an eye on these if we start to get some strengthening in the interest rates. Zim, again, I'm just watching this 47 level to see if it breaks out from there. And that's the wrap. Let's take a quick peek at how futures are looking for the morning. A lot can change between now and then, but just let's take a look here. Dow's looks like it's going to open up around 90 bucks higher. The S&P looking like it's opening up a little bit. Qs look strong, look pretty good. Even the IWM, the Russell, looks like it's going to open up in the green here today and tomorrow morning, I should say. So they all look looking pretty good, and you can see here getting a marginal increase in the yields right now. So and as far as our commodities go, oil's up a little bit, gold's down a fraction, nat gas is up a little bit as well. The US dollar looking a little bit weak against the Swiss franc and the Canadian dollar, but the strong against the Japanese yen, and just a little weak against the euro. So nothing much to see yet, but it does look like we're going to have a green open. And speaking of the open, 8 o'clock, Jared will be doing the Engineering the Markets at 8 o'clock live on YouTube, and then of course we'll be doing the pre-market show. Carlos is going to take a couple weeks off to help his wife. They're having a child, so there'll be some of our other moderators covering the pre-market open for the next week or two. And of course we'll be doing that live on YouTube as well, and then of course trading the market to open at 9:30. So we look forward to seeing you there, all or one of those events. Have a good rest of the evening, everybody, and take care. Bye for now.